breath work. Can you talk us through? I seem to remember on the session when I did the live session with you, you mentioning how we release DMT in the lungs. Can you talk us through that? What kind of experiences do people have? I mean, I can talk about my own experiences, but can you just speak to the experiences people have?
Yeah, so it's like one of the coolest things of breath work. A couple of things happen. One of them is transient hypofrontality. Flow state happens right around the 8 to 12 minute mark, where the resistance gets so high in breath work, where you're either going to step back into safety and comfort, or you're going to push through that discomfort. And that's when you break through into this quantum field where you enter flow state and all the answers are available to you. So that's the beauty of it. The other beauty of breath work is what you mentioned, which is DiMethylTryptamine. DMT is produced in the pineal gland. It's the chemical responsible for launching us in another dimension when we go to bed at night and we sleep and we feel it's real until we wake up in, this reality. And it's also produced in the lungs. It's actually produced more in the lungs than it is in the pineal gland. So when you start this active breathing, you just initiate this release of DMT. And it's not like too much where it's like ayahuasca or like LSD, where you take that, you take those mushrooms, you're on that ride for a good 3 or 4 hours, you're not getting off that ride till it's done. So you're not,
ride, yeah.
you're not in charge. With breathwork, you're in charge, and just enough gets secreted where people just experience this natural bliss. They feel these, amazing emotions and this connectivity that they never felt, unconditional love, and like just connected to the floor, the ground, the earth, the people breathing next to them, closer to their family, whatever it may be. And that is when you're entering those trance states. In the DMT, it's like a trifecta of all these things happening at once. And I usually tell people, there's 2 things that could happen when you start to really, activate this breathing and the DMT starts to secrete. And that is, 1, you're going to have this natural, euphoric, blissful high. And 2, you're going to trip balls. And I've had people like literally travel to other like dimensions and planets and, have conversations with past loved ones that gave them information. I'm like, that's when the weird stuff starts to happen, where your brain can't comprehend of like, how is breathing doing all of this stuff? And this is where it's like we can't explain it. You just have to experience it. It's like I'm doing my best right now with you to articulate how magical this stuff is, and I'm probably not even doing it justice.
Yeah, I agree. It's so hard to explain what you get from it, and everyone is different, aren't they? Everyone has a different reaction, and I can speak from my own personal experience. I've had like close to this kind of DMT experience where I've had like visions, but one of the first ones I saw was an angel, and it was actually after I'd done all the breathing, and we were guided back into the room, which is quite different to the first time I did it, because I started to have visions on the actual breathing itself. But after I got the T-Rex arms and my everything's kind of frozen up and tingling all over my face. What's the word for that? T-Rex? It's obviously not T-Rex. What's the?
Yeah, it's called tetany.
Tetany, thank you. So it's quite a weird sensation because your one often gets these kind of claw hands.
Realize the more breath work you do, the less that you have the lobster claws.
Yeah, T-Rex arms.
Yeah, the T-Rex arms, the gang signs, the lobster claws. We did all types of
gang signs. I love that. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird sensation when you first have it, but when we push through it, that's when we kind of have these incredible experiences. And I love that you just we talked about the DMT. It's incredible. Some people get crazy downloads and they just get total clarity with what they need at the time. I tend to find I shake, and like I mentioned earlier, quite a bit. My legs shake, and sometimes my body, like when I did it on Sunday, my whole upper body was kind of bouncing up and down. And the facilitators were saying, if you want to the other people in the group, it was all on Zoom, and they said, if you want to have an orgasm like Neil, breathe through it. Don't stop breathing.
Well, that's funny because that's actually what that is. It's not trauma. There's a difference between, if I'm watching somebody breathe, I can tell if they're trying to get trauma out of the body, or in your case, it's Kundalini energy, right? trying to move itself through your system so it can flow through you, because that ultimately is the path to enlightenment. When that kundalini at the spine rises through, but it has a long way to go and like blockages to get through.